Hey, what's going on everyone? My name is Jamie Dean and welcome back to another gaming pickups video. I have a ton of stuff sitting here to share with you today. I've had a really good couple of months game hunting, including this sucker, which contains one of my all-time GRAIL games. I've finally found this. I've been looking for this thing ever since I started collecting games, and I've finally come across one to stick on my shelf. 4 weeks. 4 weeks I've been sitting on this thing waiting to open it just so I could share it here with you guys. And today is finally the day. Let's do it. Alright, so I think we'll save this one for lucky last. Couple of clues. See if you can guess what it is. And don't skip to the end of the video and cheat. It is a, I believe, 1995 release. It's a very obscure PC game. Point and click adventure in a lost world. And that's all the clues I'm going to give you. See if you can guess what this is. What is one of my GRAIL games that I've been searching for ages. But we'll get to that last in true YouTube video fashion. Right. My God, where to start? There's so much stuff here. It's ridiculous. Now that I see it all sat here together as a pile, it's like, Jesus. All right, let's start with this. Let's start with this weird little curio that I came across. I really just like how this looks, and that's the main reason I picked this up. But I think I may do an unboxing video and actually try it out. I'm going to try it out because I'm just fascinated to see how this works. It's a My Arcade Pico player, I believe is how it's pronounced. Pico player for the Mega Man series. Now this includes Mega Man 1 to 6 on this little replica arcade unit. And you can see there that it has buttons, it has a little joystick, and it actually works. Now, this is one of those like just impulse buys, right? This was just I saw it and I was like, wow, I want that. There's a little bit of a look on the back at how it looks. But I'm really curious to see how this thing plays on that tiny little screen. So if that's something you're interested in, drop a comment and let me know, and I might unbox it and we'll give it a try together and test it out. But that was my first little find on a good little sale. Next up, let's go with these. Let's go with some eBay finds. So my last pickups video, I shared the N64 Gamer issue of the Ocarina of Time review issue of N64 Gamer that I had growing up as a teenager that I absolutely loved. Loved that magazine. Well, I found a seller on eBay who was selling their entire collection of N64 Gamer magazines. I think they had 16 issues altogether that they were trying to clear out. I wanted to do a deal with him for the entire lot because I wanted every issue that like I didn't have any of them. Like that Zelda issue is the only one that I have at the moment, and I'd like to start picking these up just to go through them again for nostalgia's sake, and also because they're just a really special thing for me from that particular time in my life. He did an amazing deal on the whole bundle for me, but unfortunately it just was out of my price range at the time. So I picked a few issues that he had for sale and pulled the trigger on those. And I said, look, by the time, like when they get here, by the time I'm back in budget again, I'll stop back in and I'll see if you're still selling them, if you've got any left. And I can see myself going back and gradually picking up what he has available. Let me show you what I managed to get on this first time around. So we have, first of all, the Beetle Adventure Racing issue. Now I remember having this as a kid, this particular one, and I didn't own Beetle Adventure Racing, but I played it and really enjoyed it. Great little sort of pseudo open world racing game. Not open world, but like a multiple, there wasn't just like a set track, like you could take multiple different routes, like an A to B racer basically, and get there however you can. Also features Carmageddon, Tonic Trouble, and it has, or it used to have at least, some South Park 64 stickers included as well. They're probably not in there, I'd say, as well as a little sneak peek at Smash Brothers. So that was the first one that I managed to grab. I also got the Smash Brothers review issue. Now I never had this one as a kiddo. Also got Quake 2 in there, some Castlevania and Mario Party. So I'll look forward to having a look through that one, seeing as how I've never seen that before in my life. And the one that I mainly wanted was this one. The Pokemon Snap review issue. Pokemon Snap being a very nostalgic and much loved game of mine. Also has some Mario Golf, WWF Attitude, Revolt, and Duke Nukem 0 Hour all covered in this one. But yeah, Pokemon Snap is absolutely the reason I picked this one up, and I can't wait to sit down with a cup of tea and have a flip through and read that review. Also one that I didn't have back in the day, so it'll be all new to me. But yeah, they're my magazine pickups for this particular lot. Also on eBay, I found these. These were just like randomly, well, I guess not randomly because they're in my wheelhouse, but they were just a recommendation from eBay. And it was a really, really good deal, or at least I thought it was a really good deal. And it was these metal signs, these metal arcade signs. Just to hang on your wall, I guess in like your game room or your bar area or whatever the case may be. So I've got Gradius. Awesome looking art on these, which is why I picked them up. We also have Space Harrier. You can see they've got this like sort of fake rusted effect on the top here, but they're all like an aluminium kind of. You've probably seen these around before, right? In different sorts of prints. They often do them with comic book covers and things like that as well. And Contra. So the guy was just selling the 3 of them. He wasn't really selling any other game-related stuff. It was just these 3 random aluminium signs that he had up for sale. Obviously just trying to get rid of them because they were really, really cheap. And I was happy to grab them. So they will no doubt find a home behind me on the wall or on the shelf here somewhere because I think they look awesome. I really, really like how they've come out. That was, I think, about it on the eBay front. Oh, there is some more eBay stuff a little bit later, but we'll get to that when we get into the actual games that I managed to pick up. I had a little win in my local bookshop, my local secondhand bookshop that sells video games. They don't have a really great turnover. They tend to have the same stuff in there all the time, but I always poke my nose in because I've got to go right past it for work a few times a week anyway. So I always stop in there and see what games they've got on the shelf and just have a poke around to see what kind of books they've got, if they've got any gaming-related books. And on this particular day that I walked in, they had the Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls art book, which I did not own. I have the Art of Diablo 3, but I don't have the Art of Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls for the expansion. This is in gorgeous condition. It doesn't look like it's ever been touched or read. And yeah, I snatched that up straight away. Beautiful art book. Like I said, really, really good nick. I've already had a flip through this one. And this will find a home on my shelf right next to the Diablo 3 art book. So, yeah, just, again, walked in there on the right day, and I was stoked to come across that. Sort of did a double take like, what? That's coming home with me. Right, next I have some gifts, actually. A couple of gifts. The first of which is from my mommy, who recently came to look after my dog while I was away at a convention. And she brought me these that she's found. I don't know if she's found these in a second-hand store or if she's found them on Marketplace or something, but she spotted them and thought that I should have them, and I'm very glad that she did, because these are really, really cool and were incredibly nostalgic immediately. These are, underneath it says, 1997 Viacom Rugrats figures. I'll see if I can get a close-up. Not very easy to do with the lighting here. But we've got Tommy, Chucky, we've got Bill and Lil, and of course we've got Angelica, and that's probably my favorite one. I love the pose on that one. But yeah, that was such a cool little surprise. An OG 97 figures. Like, that's really cool. I've never seen these before. But I loved Rugrats as a kid. Huge Rugrats fan when I was of the age. And yeah, Mum obviously remembered that and thought that these were something that would look good on my shelf, and they will. They'll be going probably right here in front of me where my monitors sit. They'll find a home. So that was really, really cool. Nice little surprise that I didn't expect. I don't know if they're terribly valuable. I don't know if they're terribly rare. If you know more about sort of vintage toy collecting than I do, make sure you drop down the bottom and leave a comment and let me know whether these are a real treasure that Mum's sort of stumbled across. But I just love them for how they look and just for nostalgia's sake, really. Also, in the gift department, when I was at said convention, my buddy Connor called me Mr. Dodge on YouTube. Make sure you go and check out his videos. Does some wonderful comedy videos and just humorous observations. A little bit of, I think, Dragon Ball Z he's really hitting hard at the moment. But he gifted me, he sent me a photo actually and said, do I want any of these? And I said, oh yes, I would like that one. I've been chasing that one. How much do you want for it? And being the absolute gentleman and star that he is, I turned up to the convention to find it sitting there in a bag waiting for me as a present. So he is just an absolute beautiful soul. Connor, thank you very much. And it is the World of Warcraft Wrath of the Lich King Collector's Edition. Now, I used to own this. I bought this on release for Wrath of the Lich King, the last expansion that I played in World of Warcraft. And sadly got rid of it at some point after that. Now, I already own the art book that comes in this collector's edition because I love art books. I love video game art books. And I have a lot of the World of Warcraft collector's edition art books on my shelf. But I will probably pass that on to another home now that I've got another copy of it, as well as all the other bits and pieces that come in this collector's edition. Something I'm really looking forward to checking out in here is actually the behind the scenes DVD. I love that sort of shit, and I know it's probably available on YouTube somewhere, but Nala and I will probably sit down over a weekend or something like at some point when we've got some time and chuck that in and have a look, because those sorts of things are just a bit of a lost curiosity that we don't really get anymore. But yeah, super chuffed to have that. Connor, if you're watching, I love you, buddy. You are amazing. Thank you very, very much. You are too kind to me always. All right. Couple more things we've got to look at before we get stuck into some actual games. These are very much game related though. These are some more figures that I've picked up in the Jada Toys line for my Street Fighter collection. I'm currently collecting the Jada Toys Street Fighter line. I think they are fantastic quality figures at a really, really good price. I'm constantly impressed by how good the quality is for such a little amount of money that you pay for these. I think they look absolutely brilliant, super posable. The two that I've picked up to add to my collection this time is M. Bison and my man GRAIL. So there we go. So I'll be unboxing those and sticking them in with their compatriots, which is just off camera over there in my display cabinet. Really looking forward to pulling them out and putting them in to continue the collection. Yeah, awesome collection. Check them out, guys. If you're a Street Fighter fan and you haven't checked out these Jada Toys figures, do yourself a favor and have a look at them, because they are really, really good. I'm a big, big fan of these. All right, enough about non-game stuff. Let's get into some actual video games. All right, so I went on a bit of a Switch binge over the last few months. I don't know why. I wasn't intending to go on a Switch binge, but I just seem to keep stumbling across really good deals for games on the Switch. And the Switch, like, it's one of my favorite consoles of all time, and I really enjoy collecting for it. In particular, I love collecting sort of like the weird, like niche indie sort of games that get a physical release. I really, really enjoy trying to track them down, as well as like retro re-releases and compilations and stuff that they do, like the Capcom versus Marvel vs. Capcom fighting collection that I had on the last pickup. I love that sort of stuff for the Switch, getting the physical edition, and there is certainly a few of those in here as well. I'm going to go through these just sort of rapid fire to show you what I managed to grab. So the first falls directly into that category, and that is Wild Guns Reloaded. Now, Wild Guns is one I've got on my list to play on the channel and that I'm really looking forward to checking out because it looks fucking awesome. I don't know if I'll play this for that playthrough or if I'll play the original on the Switch Online system, but one of the two I will be chucking on and having a look. But I knew when I found this for like a bargain, bare basement bargain price that I wanted to grab this for my collection. Also, a retro bent to this one as well. We've got the Tomb Raiders 1 to 3 remastered. Justin, if you're watching, Justin's nemesis. My buddy Justin tried Tomb Raider 1 for the first time, this very version of it, and had, we'll say, an interesting experience with it. He full of colourful language, his playthrough of that was, or I say playthrough, he quit the game very, very quickly because, yeah, a retro gamer. Justin is not, but he's a lovely guy and he gave it a shot all the same. But I've never played Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider is one of those series that I don't know why I haven't played it. Like, it doesn't make any sense that I haven't played it. I fucking love things like Indiana Jones, like Tintin, like Uncharted, like that sort of like globe-trotting, relic-seeking, high-adventure fantasy kind of stuff. Like, that's like my jam. So I know for sure that had I have played this back in the day, I would have fucking loved it. But for whatever reason, it just passed me by. So I'm determined to revisit Lara Croft and her adventures and try Tomb Raider for the very first time. And you'll see that on the channel here in the future at some point. What else we got here? More retro. In fact, most of this is sort of retro re-releases or updates. Another one I found on a mega sale was Shadow of the Ninja Reborn, which I believe is a remaster of an old NES game. Yes, NES, 1990 NES game. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's what it's got here on the back of the case, and it's now been remastered and re-released in HD with updated graphics, and it just looks really cool. Really nice looking sort of action platformer. So that's another one I'll surely be checking out for the channel. To accompany my Marvel vs. Capcom fighting collection, we also have the Capcom Fighting Collection. This is one I've been watching for a long, long time. Very expensive game, or at least here in Australia, it's been a very, very expensive game to pick up for the Switch. So this is one that's sort of just been sitting on my watch list for ages, ever since it released, waiting for some sort of sale to come along, from just throw me a crumb of something. And they finally did after a very long bout of patience, so I jumped on it while I could. Beautiful cover on that one, like absolutely gorgeous cover art. Red Earth is, in particular, the one game on here that I'm very, very eager to try out. I've never played any of the games on this fighting collection, but Red Earth looks absolutely spectacular in terms of like sprite work and art design. So you can expect to see a good amount of these being played on the channel as well as I work my way through this particular collection. And we've got another little dash of Mega Man here. This is to go with my Legacy collection that I already have on the Switch, and that is the Mega Man X and X Mega Man X Legacy Collection 1 and 2. There we go. Fucking mouthful that one is. So this has got, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games, Mega Man X to Mega Man X8, and again, Super Nintendo, never had a Super Nintendo, missed the 16-bit era, so I also missed Mega Man X completely, and this will be a good way for me to revisit those. My friend Sam is a huge fan of Mega Man X, speaks very highly of it, one of his favourite series, I believe, in the retro world. So yeah, really, really keen to check this one out. And my last Switch pickup, this is not a retro, gosh, can you call this a retro game? I hope not. Fuck, I'm getting old, man. It's Xenoblade Chronicles, the definitive edition for the Switch. This one I picked up for my daughter Nala. I think this is a game that she's really going to enjoy. But I think I'd like to try it out as well and see what it's all about, because it looks gorgeous. It's such a beautiful looking game. And I think, was it the Wii? Was it the Wii this first came out on? Like, I know this is going to look better than the Wii version, but even when this was released back then, it was like, how is this running on this hardware? It's crazy. Anyway, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition added to the collection, and one I'm keen to check out at some point in the future as well. All right. What else have we got? Let's do some. And let's do some CEX. Let's do a few CEX pickups here. So I don't go into CEX very often, although I am starting to visit them a little bit more now than I was. My dog's going completely bonkers at something. Hey! So CEX, I mean, I don't get into CEX very often in person. My CEX here just has never seemed to have a whole lot available, in particular, like for what I'm chasing, what I want on the shelf. Although that is changing, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. But I did venture in there to have, I don't know, just to poke my nose in to see what was in there. I think I had some time to kill while I was in the area. It was right there, so I thought, you know what, let's just go in the CX and have a look. And I'm really freaking glad that I did, because I made a couple of pickups here that I did not expect to see. One in particular that was just like a holy shit. I was just meant to walk in here today. The first one I managed to grab, it was on the shelf, super duper cheap. It's not a very valuable game, but it's in the line that I love, and that is Super Street Fighter 4 3D Edition for the 3DS. I think this cost me like $12 or something like that. Not expensive. Nice big chunky manual. It's a heavy case. It was in decent sort of condition. A little bit of damage on the front there. You probably can't see it in the camera. It's super duper minor. But yeah. Anything Street Fighter related, I mean, I'm shit at the game, but I love the world, I love the art, I love everything about Street Fighter, and if I see cheap Street Fighter out and about, it's going to be coming home with me, and this was on the shelf there calling my name. So this one ended up walking out of the shop with me after I've paid for it, that is. But the other one that I found that I never in a million years expected to see this on a CEX shelf, and I didn't even know this existed. This is one of my absolute favorite games of all time. I would say top 5 favorite games ever made. And I didn't actually realize that it got a physical release until I saw this on the CEX shelf that day, and that is To the Moon. Now, this is a little sort of like indie point and click-ish story narrative adventure. Very short little game, about 3.5 hours long. Hugely emotional game. Like, this is a massive emotional gut punch. It certainly was for me. And I just saw this lovely little physical edition with this fold-out cover on the shelf there, and it was just kind of surreal, because like I feel like I'm the only person in the world that knows of this game's existence and ever talks about it. There's the case itself, and I just never expected to see this on a shelf at all. It was just such a weird thing, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, holy crap, that's coming home with me. And it was $5, I think. It might have even been less than that. It was $5 or less to grab this. A physical copy of one of my all-time favorite games, and I never even knew it got a physical release. So that was just one of those fortuitous things. Go into your local CEX, I guess. Like, if you have one and you're nearby, even if you think they've got nothing, go and have a look, because you just never know when it's going to be the right day and the right time for you to do so. So this is like one of my favorite pickups in this entire bundle, to be perfectly honest. Just kind of crazy. Didn't expect to see that at all. So yeah, To the Moon on my shelf in physical form, and I'm absolutely stoked about it. All right, while we're on the topic of CEX, so here in Australia, EB Games has started taking in retro trade-ins. Brand new thing that they're just starting to do right now. There's been a little bit of hubbub about it in the news, mostly because of the prices that they're offering for retro stuff is kind of stupid, ridiculous. The only people who are going to trade it in are people who don't understand the value of what they had, like parents or grandparents clearing out the attic or the loft or the basement or whatever, or the kids' bedrooms after they've moved out of home and finding this stuff and just dumping it off at EB Games. And they're yet to start selling it, by the way. They're just trading it in. They're going to start selling it online at some point in the future. I think the near future. Now, I've often gone into CEX and asked if they have any retro games, and they never have. And in fact, at one point they told me that they don't they don't trade retro games. They don't accept retro games. They don't sell retro games. They're not interested in getting into that market. Okay, fair enough. Well, EB Games starts trading in retro games, and sure enough, CEX very, very quickly followed suit, except rather than just taking them in for trade-in value, CEX have started cataloging them and selling them. I noticed when I walked into my local CEX that they had a Nintendo 64 game sitting behind the glass on the wall, and I was like, you've got a Nintendo 64 game there. I didn't think you guys sold retro. And yeah, got the whole story about how they've just started to do it now, and they're getting quite a bit into stock. So, me being me, jumped straight on the CEX app. Sure enough, they've got a huge catalog of games on there, things both in and out of stock, and start making a wish list, making a watch list, setting some notifications. Now, I've bought a few things online from CEX and always been very happy with what I've got. I've never gotten anything, that's been not as described or in bad condition or anything like that. Maybe I've gotten very lucky. I don't know. But I'm always very particular about my retro stuff. Now, if you've watched any of my retro collecting stuff on the channel at all, any of my sort of game collection tours or past pickups videos, you'll know that I'm not super fussy on condition. I actually prefer my games to have a little bit of love on them, a little bit of wear and tear. I think it just adds to the nostalgia and adds a little bit of charm to retro collecting. I'm not a mint condition collector by any means, and I don't want to be. But at least on eBay, when you buy a retro game, you get photos of what you're buying. Not so on CEX. It's just literally a JPEG of the cover, sometimes not even that, and whether it's in stock or not. Hence the term CEX lottery that gets thrown around on YouTube channels. And I understand why now, after having a shot at my very first retro CEX lottery. The game that I decided to try it out was, I went, really cheap, really sort of just very common game, didn't go with anything totally crazy or spectacular, but having picked up the Tomb Raiders 1 to 3 remastered collection on the Switch, I thought, you know what, Tomb Raider's a game I'd love to get a physical copy of on the PS1. I'd like to have that on my shelf. It's a game I want to do a playthrough of one day. I'd like to have this in my collection. So I pulled the trigger on an in-stock copy of Tomb Raider on CEX. And this is what showed up. So this is the Eidos Ricochet, what is it? Collection? I don't know what it is. But it's ugly as hell anyway. It's a hideous copy of this game. Yeah, I'm glad it wasn't expensive. And to be fair, it was very, very cheap. Very cheap. I think I paid like $20 for this, and I would pay $20 for a PS1 game all day long, every day. Yeah, look, sometimes you gamble and win. Sometimes you gamble and lose. I have enough wins that every now and then I can accept a loss here and there. I wouldn't necessarily call this a huge loss. It's in very nice condition, to be fair. It's just not what I thought I was going to get. Now, collectors will know that the original Tomb Raider on PS1 actually comes in a jewel case. Not a jewel as in JEWEL PC game jewel case. That's just my shit Australian accent. Dual case with a D, jewel case. With the middle, the bifold, whatever you want to call them, slips in the middle. I don't know what the fucking terminology is. I'm not a game case expert. Anyway, as soon as it showed up, I was like, and I could see the spine in the package. I was like, oh, hang on. This is not going to be what I thought it was. And sure enough, it wasn't. Like I said, it's not a terrible condition. I'll hang on to it. It'll go on the shelf. It's not an uncommon game to find. It's not a super expensive game to find. At some point, I will come across a copy of Tomb Raider, the original case that I want for the shelf, and then I'll pass this on or resell it or something like that. But anyway, there you go. My first ever CEX lottery. But not my last. Because I have here another CEX lottery that I took a gamble on. And I haven't opened this one yet. Now, Tomb Raider was a cheap, common, easy game to find. This is not. So, I really hope that this is in good condition and is what I think it should be. And I thought it'd be funny just to open it up on the video here, and you guys will get to see my reaction live as to whether this is going to be a CEX lottery win or a CEX lottery loss. Let's have a look, shall we? All right. So first things first, it's very, very well bubble wrapped inside the paper bag, which is good because I was a little bit worried when it showed up in a bag. Okay. I can't quite see through the bubble wrap. Let's get into it. Things are looking positive. We're looking good. And this is a special one, right? Like, this is not... It's not an easy game to find anymore. Like, this is a more difficult game to find, but this is a special one for me. And I think... I'll tell you what, I think we've had a win. Yeah. Yeah, guys, I think we've had a win here. Nice. I'm just going to pull this sticker off the front, like the CEX sticker, just so you guys can see the cover in all of its glory. But I tell you what, I'm pretty happy here with this. Yeah, this makes up for Tomb Raider completely. So this one is, and if you're following the channel, especially recently, you'll know that I just played through this game, Metal Gear Solid. So I think what I'd like to do, because playing the games for the first time all the way through on the channel, like, they feel like events, at least for me. I don't know about you. Maybe it's probably just another, wanker on the internet playing a game. But for me, they certainly adds something to it, right? It makes it a bit more of a special thing. And I think what I'd like to do is start adding the games that I'm playing through for the first time on the channel to my collection behind me for the memory of having done that here with you guys, right? I did that with Super Mario 64, which now sits, you can probably just see over my shoulder right here on my shelf that I picked up on that first playthrough. And having now recently completed Metal Gear Solid for the first time, I wanted to grab that and put on the shelf as well. But I tell you what, this is nice. It's got a few scratches on the front of the case. It's probably hard to show on the camera. Yeah, it's pretty hard to, you can just barely see them. It's a little bit scuffed. But honestly, like, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. The case is in good nick. Nothing's broken. We've got a manual. Excellent. Little bit warped. Looks like it might have been water damaged, possibly at some point in the past. But it's there. The discs look good. Yeah, nice one. Now, this is a game to pick up on eBay here in Australia. Goes for over $100 easily, sort of 120, 130, somewhere around that sort of mark. Not a cheap game, and there's not very many listings of it at all. So not an easy one to come across. I picked this up from CEX via their app for $50. Like less than half the price of what these go for on eBay. And yeah, I'm chuffed. I'm really happy with this. That's great. It's the Platinum Edition. I prefer to collect Black Label when I have the choice for PlayStation. If I happen to come across a really well-priced Black Label version for my shelf in the future at some point, I might swap this out. But for the time being, I mean, yeah, like I said, for less than half the price of what I can find it for elsewhere, I am more, especially in this condition, I'm more than happy for this to sit on my shelf. So there we go. Metal Gear Solid. We have a CEX lottery win. Excellent. That's outstanding. We're back to level again. No, we're way past level. Like this outshines the Tomb Raider debacle completely. That's fantastic. Oh God, that's good. All right, I'm gonna flip through that manual once I've wrapped up this video. All right, so that's my CEX pickups. We've only got a couple more left to go here before we get into opening my GRAIL package up. And these are special ones. These are special ones that I've been searching for, again, for a long, long time for my shelf. Very important. One of them especially is a really, really important game for me and my gaming history. Played a lot of this game growing up, and it's been really, really hard to find a boxed copy of this. And when I do find boxed copies of it, they are very, very expensive. Way, way out of my price range, especially. So when I came across this one for what looks like a this can't be real kind of price, I checked it out, looked at the pictures as thoroughly as I could, showed it to a buddy of mine who's much more well-versed in retro gaming than I am. Scott from Streets of Scrage happened to be here, and he cast his gaze over it. Yeah, I just got very, very lucky, and that is Age of Empires 2. Now, this is not the big box. I know there is a big box version of it out there. I would like to have gotten that, but at the same time, like, just getting any boxed version of this is difficult. But this is all there. Manual, it's got the tech tree, the discs in great condition. I just got, yeah, incredibly lucky. Yeah, this is a special one. This is a really special game for me. My dad played this a lot. I played this a lot. I grew up playing, like, this era of RTS games. Yeah, so many memories and so many hours poured into this in particular in skirmish mode, playing over dial-up internet with my friends, watching my dad play, getting tips and advice from him. Yeah, just a very, very, very important game to me. One of my favorite games ever. And right up there in terms of my favorite RTS games ever. So yeah, very fortunate, very happy I came across this one for the price that I did. And from the same seller, I also managed to get, bundled in, another game that I honestly don't remember as fondly because I didn't play it as much, but I certainly liked it back in the day, and that is Age of Mythology. So again, boxed, lovely copy, beautiful box, amazing condition. Yeah, well happy to have that on the shelf as well. One of my buddy Scott's favorite RTS games ever, actually. I certainly enjoy... I remember playing this at LANs quite a bit back in the day as well. This was sort of the flavor of the month there for a little while when it came to LAN parties. But yeah, good game. Really good game. Really good pickup. So I've managed to grab both of those now to put on my PC shelf, and I'm wrapped with that. Like, especially Age of Empires 2. I've been searching for box Age of Empires 2 for a long time. So I can finally cross that one off my list. And yeah, super duper happy, as you can probably tell. Okay, that is it as far as pickups go, save for my Grail. Yeah, let's do it. Without further ado, let's see what we've got in this package here that I've been searching for. Gosh, how long have I been looking for this for now? Years. Like I said, ever since I started, it's one of the first games I put on my list to collect when I decided to get into game collecting. And it's just super hard to find. Now, when it does, this is the first one I've ever seen available in Australia since I started collecting, right? These aren't expensive games because it's very niche. It's super niche. Like I said, if you've had a guess, 1995, obscure PC game, point and click adventure in a lost world. What do you think? Any guesses? I'll be very surprised if you get it, honestly, because again, it's one of those games where I feel like I'm the only one who knows or cares about it. But I care about it a lot. A lot. It's not one of my favorite games ever. In fact, it could be argued that it's not a great game, full stop. But it's a special game for me. And I'll tell you why. So, I think it was for it must have been like my 11th birthday. I got given this game by from my parents. Now, I don't know what I wanted for my 11th birthday. I don't remember. It was probably something like Street Sharks or something back then, right? All I remember is that I was very, very, very much into this franchise at the time, but for some reason was really disappointed when I got given this as a present. I guess it's because I was wanting something else at that particular time. And so I've always felt really guilty about that, because we did not have a lot of money growing up at all, which is why, a part of the reason I'm doing this channel is because I just didn't have access to a lot of video games growing up, like not until the Nintendo 64 days, especially. I've played a decent amount of games, but a lot of them were either through friends or via rentals. We didn't own a lot ourselves, and I just didn't get to play a lot. Oh my God, I've just laid eyes on it. Holy shit. Sorry. I've totally lost my train of thought. So I got given this by my parents for my birthday, and I was disappointed. And I've always felt really guilty about being disappointed, because this is such a thoughtful present. Like, I think that's why it's so special to me, is because my parents, you can tell they really put some love and thought into this gift, and it would not have been a cheap thing to buy back then. This would not have been an easy thing for them to do, to get me this. And for me to be disappointed in receiving it, like, I just think back to that period of my life and just think, you little shit, like, you absolute ungrateful little turd. I mean, I was a kid, right? Like, I was an 11-year-old kid or whatever. I did come round on it, right? Like, eventually, after I got over myself and not getting whatever it was that I thought I was going to get, I did end up loving this game, playing it and loving it. I didn't get very far, but I did eventually, like, give it a chance. But not as much of a chance as I wish I had, because there's no reason why I shouldn't have just been head over heels overjoyed at getting this and poured myself into it. Because, like I said, I was absolutely engrossed in this franchise at the time that I got it. So without further ado, the game is, and again, this is probably a lot of build up to something that you are not going to know or give a fuck about at all. But like, it's clearly very special to me, which is why it's been on my Grail list for so long. And that is the Dinotopia CD-ROM adventure game. Look at that cover by James Gurney, one of his most famous pieces of art. Now, I loved Dinotopia growing up. And when I say that, like, love doesn't quite cover it, right? I was obsessed. I absolutely adored Dinotopia. I was dinosaur obsessed as a kid, as I think all kids were, but I was like you take a dinosaur obsessed kid and you go like 4 steps further, and that's about where I was at. I read all the books, I read all the novels, and I had this game. And I don't understand why I was disappointed in it. I'm receiving it because it's such a beautiful present. It's an absolutely gorgeous present. Like, I'm actually like kind of getting like a bit emotional about now, just sort of like looking back at it, just because of the guilt, right? Like, I just feel so guilty. But I have it now. There's the back cover. And we'll take it out of this sleeve. Now, if you're not familiar with Dinotopia, I think if you're if you're my age, you would have some awareness around it. But if not, what it is, and I'll just show you. Actually, I'll show you the slipcover. So it's got this gorgeous box. There we go. With the language, the Dinotopian language. Now, I used to be able to read this. That's how into it I was. I could tell you what that said. I can't now. But once upon a time, 11-year-old Jamie could tell you what that said. So Dinotopia is a series of books by James Gurney, written and illustrated by James Gurney, in these gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous paintings. About I think it's set in the 17 or 1800s, something like that. About a father and his son who get shipwrecked on an island in the middle of nowhere, and discover that there is this civilization of dinosaurs and humans living in coexistence in this sort of remote place. And nobody can leave because airplanes don't exist, and because the island is surrounded by a reef that ships can't get past, which is what they shipwrecked on. So anyone, all the humans that live on the island are all shipwreck survivors over the hundreds of years who have sort of like had no choice but to stay and live there, and have sort of evolved this this relationship with the dinosaurs that live there, and now coexist in this sort of utopian civilization. Hence the name Dinotopia. Sorry, I'm sort of like I'm in two minds here because I'm sort of pouring through it as I talk and getting kind of distracted. So let me share a little bit of what's in this thing here. So we've got like a little quick start. Read this card first, which is double-sided, has some hints for the game. Now, it's a point-and-click sort of adventure game. It has the manual, which is this gorgeous, and I'll hold it up, this beautiful manual, which folds out. And again, this is all James Gurney's artwork. If you've never read Dinotopia, the original first book of the big hardcover book, right? It's such a fascinating read. Really, really beautiful story. It's for me, and this is going to be like, again, get a lot of flack in the comments, I'm sure, but for me, Dinotopia is up there with, like, in terms of fantastical worlds, with like Lord of the Rings, right? It's like, it has such a rich lore, its own history, its own language, its own customs, all these beautiful things. God, this book is lovely. Yeah, some really nice pictures in there. It's all sort of like this old school monotone green printing. And then under that, we have the very humble game, as well as a pack of cards here. There's the game in this little cardboard case that you flip this out and then open up. And this little deck of cards for a game called Treble, which is a game that they play in the world of Dinotopia. Now, this here is the only thing I have left from this gift when I was 11 years old. I still have this deck of cards on my shelf in my bedroom as a reminder of this lovely thing that got away from me. I don't know what happened to it. I don't know where it ended up, but it disappeared at some point in my upbringing, in my teenage years probably. And for whatever reason, this little pack of cards is the only thing that remained, that I've held on to ever since, just to remind me of it. But now I have the whole thing, and I'm just like I said, I'm doing my best to not be emotional, but I am trying very hard, because it's quite an emotional thing for me, sitting here and opening this and going through it. Yeah, I'm so happy I found a copy of this. It's been such a long wait to find this. It was available in the UK, and not terribly expensive in the UK, but just the shipping to get it over here made it exorbitantly expensive. And I was sort of starting to resign myself to the fact that was going to be the only way I was ever going to get my hands on it, was to pay some ludicrous amount of money just to ship a copy over here. But now it's here, and I'm really, really happy. And I think 11-year-old Jamie is really, really happy too. And that's what it's all about. So there we go. Dinotopia, the adventure game. Yeah. Little point and click adventure. A mix of like live action, sort of like video with 2D sprite work. And like more than anything, I'd love to find a way to play this. I don't know if you can emulate this somewhere online, if it's available, I don't know. But I'm happy just to have it again and have it on my shelf. Like this really is for me. And again, like I said, I'm sure you watching this don't give a shit. Don't give a shit about Dinotopia the adventure game, but I sure as hell give a shit. I give a big shit about this, and I'm really, really happy now that I've finally got this on my shelf. Yeah. That's cool. Anyway, I'm going to go and stare at this a little bit longer. That's all my pickups for this video, guys. Thank you very, very much for hanging out, and I hope that was entertaining. I hope that was enjoyable. If it was, make sure you give the video a like. Drop a comment. Let me know if any of these pickups resonated with you, if you thought I got a good deal on any of these, if any of these were a good find that you thought. Yeah, let me know what your favorite one was and which one you'd like to have seen on a CEX shelf yourself. But yeah, I'm gonna, yeah, sorry, I'm still, yeah. I'm just trying to get to the end of the video now and trying not to get all teary. My name's been Jamie Dean, guys. Subscribe if you want to see more. I very much appreciate you hanging out, and I will see you on the next pickups video or gameplay video or whatever happens to come your way next. Thank you very much. Take care.